Hello, sacred friend. Welcome back. Welcome to this episode of the Meet Me in Sacred Space podcast. I am your host, Lori A. Andros. And today we are going to circle back into that conversation that we've been having around the creative process. The last couple episodes, we took a bit of a detour, and today we're going to circle back into it. So I've been working on my Oracle deck for some time now, and it is nearing its release, and I'm getting very excited about that. And in the process, I wanted to just pull back the veils on creative process and some of the things that unfold in the journey from the spark of inspiration to the actual release and sharing of a product or a project in the world. I think very often creativity or these creative projects, we're very accustomed to seeing the end result. We see a finished book or oracle deck. We see a finished piece of jewelry or a finished piece of art, a finished program that's been created and brought into the world, a website in its beautiful, complete form where it just looks gorgeous. We are so familiar with the end product, and occasionally we may see technical things, technique sorts of things, or some little clips behind the scenes, but there's not very often conversation around the creative process and some of the ins and outs and the things that go on behind the scenes that I really want to delve into a little bit more in this podcast. And that's really what this series is about. So today we're going to talk about the seasons of creation. I love to think about the creative process from that perspective, from the perspective of it having seasons, from when you think about the seasons within nature. I live in a northern climate, so they're very distinct seasons. We have a distinct winter and spring and summer and fall. And within that, we have sometimes what feels like second winter or third winter. Or a couple other things. Depending on your climate, you may experience the seasons a little bit differently. But very often here, we feel them pretty clear. Like, today, it is a definite winter day. We have a massive snowfall going on, and it is just gorgeous. And I think there's a lot that we can glean from studying and paying attention to the way we experience the seasons, the ways that we become the ones that we're comfortable with and the ones that we're uncomfortable with. For me, for a very long time, I found winter to be quite uncomfortable. I didn't like the cold. I didn't feel like I had the right gear for it. I didn't feel like I was connected in an active way as I am during other seasons. I didn't really know what to do or how to embrace the energy that it's opening up. But over time, as I've really delved into my own journey of self-discovery, delved into a deeper relationship with nature, I've come to know that the energy of the seasons and the energy of winter is an essential facet of the creative process and of really coming to know ourselves and living a well-rounded, well-balanced life. Yeah, that well-rounded, well-balanced. I feel like the conversation around balance can go in so many directions. I feel like it's something that we're often looking for. And part of feeling a sense of balance is giving ourselves permission to experience the fullness of every season. So let's talk a little bit about winter, especially because it is in full-on winter mode outside with the beautiful snowfall and the beautiful, the way it creates a blanket over the earth. And snow really does that. It creates this blanket over the earth, and it allows the earth itself to just go to sleep, to go into a place of stillness. Now, we all know that in that place of stillness, there's still things happening underneath and still things going on, little critters moving around. The tree's roots are still, in that place of really receiving nourishment and exchanging nutrients with the earth. And there's so many other things unfolding in that place of the unseen. And that's really what winter invites for us as we're delving into our creative journey. It invites us into the place of going within, listening, spending time within our own voice of inner wisdom, like listening to it in a way where we're able to connect in a meaningful way, to acknowledge some of the places where we feel challenged, or some of the dreams that we've held tightly in our awareness for some time that are ready to begin to emerge. For me, the idea of creating an oracle deck is something that has been so deep within my consciousness for years. And if you've been hanging in my world for a while, you probably know that I've had several different variations and several different beginnings of oracle decks. And yet none of them really ever made it to the place where this one is at, near ready to share, near ready to release into the world. The very first one I started was actually in 2012. Wow, that is 12 years ago. It's a long time ago. And it's dramatically different than where I'm at now and the one that I've created and what I've written at this time. But it was a part of my own journey of preparation and getting ready and preparing myself, strengthening myself. And it's a dream that's been really tightly held within me this whole time. So when I started this project of creating, 45 paintings that have now become 45 oracle cards and 45 messages, that really required another level of commitment, another level of process. So let's talk about that winter again. Let's go a little bit further with winter. Winter is a season when we really go within and strengthen our inner will, our inner capacity. It's a time of internal nourishment. And so there's this piece of really tuning in and listening to our own inner voice and really getting to know ourselves in an intimate way and understanding what holds meaning and significance for us. What are the dreams and the ideas that we long to experience in life? What's the vision we hold for ourselves and for humanity? And what are the facets of that are ready to be brought forth into the world at any particular time? And since we're in the season of winter and we've just crossed the threshold into the new year, this is a really beautiful time to sink into that and to consider what's important and what we want to create in the world. And for myself personally, a couple things have really come forward. One has been the question of how do I want to show up in my embodied leadership, in my enlightened leadership? How do I want to stand in that at this time? How do I want to walk in the world? The other is, what are the dreams that feel like the beginning of legacy? Like, what is the legacy I want to create? Everyone has a different way of looking at what that legacy is for them. What is the legacy you're bringing and leaving in the world? And for some of you that may resonate, and for others that may not at all. And wherever that's at, perfect. Honor where you're at. Honor what is important to you. But I'm speaking for myself. That consideration of legacy has long been a part of who I am. And in winter, I find myself going into a place of contemplation around where am I living the legacy I want to create? Where am I not? Where am I holding myself back? And how can I propel myself forward? What are the things that want to shift and evolve and grow so that I can stand more wholly in the most authentic expression of who I am? To feel that in a way where I feel strengthened and nourished and aligned at all times. For myself, that was not always easy. And I will say that there still are roadblocks and bumps, and I'll come up against my own, edge from time to time, or very often at times. That's a part of life. It's a part of the human cycle. But it's where winter offers us an opportunity to slow down, be present, listen within, nurture our inner worlds, and let the seeds of our dreams have a very safe and sacred container for their very beginning of life, their own life. Yeah. The dreams we have, the dreams, the ideas, the projects, the creative things we want to bring into the world, they have a life of their own. And we are just the steward of them. We're the ones who bring that into a fruition, or participate in bringing that into fruition. And it's a part of really letting ourselves love and nurture them. Nurture the seed of the idea. Nurture the seed of your dream. Recently, when I delivered the podcast episode on the crystals of the year, I spoke about quartz, clear quartz, being one of the crystals for 2024. And that really is a crystal that supports us in planting the seeds of our dreams. And it's not about planting a seed that's going to emerge and grow and fully develop within a short period of time. Rather, it's about planting a seed that is for the long term, one that's going to unfold over very long periods of time that will let us emerge. And, I guess as I'm saying that, I want to kind of, also acknowledge that there definitely are seeds that are shorter, like they're shorter projects, right? And then there are seeds that take a lot longer. And for me, the Oracle deck was a seed that was planted when I began my first deck, probably a seed that was planted when I got the first Oracle deck in my hands, probably back in 2004. So 20 years ago, when I got the first deck in my hands. I'm pretty sure that inspired me to want to create one. But it has taken this long to really have it fully ripen into a place where, oh yeah, I am near ready. So now that we've talked a lot about winter and the planting of seeds, a little bit about planting the seeds, let's talk about some of the other seasons and how that shows up in creative process. So when we think about the seasons, there's winter, spring, summer, fall. And winter is the season where we dream, we imagine, we let ourselves go within, we nourish and nurture, we strengthen our inner will. And then in spring is a time to plant. Spring is a time to plant the seeds that we have been tending to bringing into awareness in the winter season. We plant them in the spring. We prepare the soil, we prepare the foundation for them. We give them a space to grow. And then summer season is a time when things grow and come into full bloom. And as we move into fall, it's a season where we harvest, where everything that has been dreamed, planted, tended to, grown, nurtured, watered, given the sunlight, we harvest from that and we receive. It's really interesting when we start to think about creative process and the ways that those seasons can overlay and come into play. When I think about this project in particular, the seed was planted probably close to 20 years ago. And then it was ripened a little bit more back in, about 12 years ago. And then really when I really fully actually planted it was when I stepped in and said, yes, now is the time. Now is the time to begin the project. And here it is. And this is where we're going. Yeah. That stepping in and that taking the action to begin the creative process. It shifts. There's a shift that happens from the energetic, from the mind space, and from the place of real tender holding into the process of bringing it into form. And allowing it to begin to grow and ripen and share and express. And as we move into the summer, that's often a time where we want to get playful with it. You know, for me, there's in the summer season of a creative project, this is a time when I feel like, oh, it's like the flowers are blooming and I want to go outside and take photos and share the photos with my friends and family and stuff like that. And that's often what happens in the summer of a creative project. It begins to feel substantial. It begins to feel real. And when I think about this project, you know, and I think about the seasons and how they went through their own cycles, I feel like for me, one of the big summer season experiences was when I began sharing the painted canvases. And not the finished painted canvases, but the brilliant color painted canvases. To me, that was like the early spring flowers, like that beginning, like, ooh, they're just starting to emerge, and there's an energy that's active and alive and coming forth and wanting to be shared and seen in the world. And so for me, that was one of the spring and into summer pieces. There's the planting the seed and then that early bloom, and then as they begin to really come into full brightness and full brilliance. It's interesting how this journey has gone through many different waves, because creating the Oracle deck, it's in the way that I created it and the way that I chose to create it, because there's many different ways you can do this, right? You can hire people to do the artwork, you can hire people to do the writing, you can hire people for the graphics, and on and on and on, right? And we can collaborate and we can come together, you know, with other people and create kind of a team sort of effort. For me, this was a pretty solo sort of journey. I sat with the crystals, and listened, and decided which crystals wanted to be painted, then painted them, and then photographed them, photographed all the paintings, and then went into the process of editing the photographs into a gorgeous digital card. And that unfolded over several evolutions. Oh my goodness. It's been really fun to see all of the evolutions that the deck itself has had in the process of really coming into landing where it's at right now. Part of what happens along the way, you know, and every one of these would have been absolutely beautiful to share. And I think I would have had so much joy in sharing them as they were. But different things would happen along the way, like my camera improved and it got better, so I was ready to take new photos and sharpen up the images. Or I learned a new technique in design and I wanted to use that to shift something on the cards. All of those processes shifted and evolved and participated in what was unfolding with the project itself. One of the things that I'm thinking about at the moment is, and connecting with the seasons, is the fall season. And when I completed the manuscript for this deck, because that in itself also went through many incarnations. And when I completed this last one, it was just at the fall equinox. It was at the end of summer and we were stepping into fall. And it felt like I was finally gathering all of the words and the energy and the themes, like they just came together and landed in a way that felt really aligned and on and connected, like all the energy of the cards, the energy of the words, the energy just melded together. It was beautiful. It felt like a harvest. It felt like a late summer, early fall harvest of words, harvest of energy coming together. And that was really beautiful and sweet. Every creative project has a big season cycle. And it also has mini season cycles within it. And that, I think, is something that's really beautiful to have awareness of as we delve into our own creative projects. I want to invite you to begin to open your heart and your mind and your thoughts and your ideas to some of the creative projects that have been in your world that maybe you've set aside that didn't quite move as quickly as you thought. Maybe they were in a winter season, or have been, or are in a winter season. And maybe they're not done, but they want you to come back when you've restored your energy and felt a renewed sense of readiness, to consider where they're at in their own process. You may even look at other projects that you've got on in your mind or in your heart or your thoughts that are ready for you to return to. Where are they at? What season are they in? And what insight do they have to offer for you from that season in your own cycle? I think it can be a really beautiful opportunity to glean a bit of insight around where our creative edge begins to show up, and where we stop ourselves, where we get stuck, where we lose momentum, where we get distracted and our attention is pulled away to something entirely different. These are all normal parts of the creative process, and they're opportunities for growth, for healing, and for coming into a deeper center with ourselves. My hope with this entire series is to inspire you to recognize those places where you've met an edge, or maybe moved into a season where it's important for you to just allow it to have its own energy for a bit, or for you to slow down and recenter. I look forward to hearing what this inspires for you, what shows up as you think about where you're at in your own creative projects. And if you have any questions about the creative process or spirituality or sacred practices, pop them in the comments or in the review section on Apple Podcasts. I'm happy to bring that into one of our upcoming episodes to delve into something that really speaks to you. I want to invite you to ask me anything. All right, sacred friend, thank you for joining me today, and I wish you a beautiful day. And as always, shine brightly. Bye for now.